Hey, Gringo, what time is it?
It's non-fungible time. Welcome to the show with your hosts, Gringo HODL, LeDrop with Cheese, and our special guest today is my very good friend, Greg Bueke. He is a wonderful human being, one of the best people I know, and he is a genius at crypto and NFTs, honestly. He and I have shared alpha for years. Kind of that's what we do. We kind of just share alpha, and now I just love that we have this connection here with Joey as well. So, Greg Bueke, welcome to the show. This is exciting. And to you, Joey, LeDrop with Cheese, the other host, thank you so much. Joey, take it away, man.
Yeah, welcome everybody to Non-Fungible Time. This is episode 4. This is the first time we have a guest on our show, and we weren't messing around, guys. We found a whale who's got a ton of alpha for you today. He's a huge collector on DraftKings, recently got into Ordinals, but he's been in crypto since 2015. So Greg Bueke, thank you so much for being our first guest, and welcome to Non-Fungible Time.
Thank you. I'm a fan of the show, and I'm delighted to be here. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yes, great to have you. So you are an avid autograph and DraftKings and some of their products like Rainmakers. You're an avid collector. So tell us a little bit about how you got into, DraftKings and autograph.
Well, actually, me and Gringo had kind of been talking about crypto for a long time. Then he started telling me a lot about NFTs. So then we kind of talked about it, and we both really like when there's a famous brand, or something like that. So we always are keeping an eye out for that. If there's going to be something that's known, and not just going to be looked at as a random JPEG in 5 years, then we tend to gravitate towards that. So then he sent me this link for DraftKings, and I was kind of blown away. Super easy interface to use. One of those things where you can kind of skip crypto, and when the normies can get involved, they will just be able to buy with their debit cards like they're used to buying everything else. They don't ever have to touch any crypto because it's all on the back end. Plus, it's kind of best of both worlds because you can buy like that, you can keep it on the exchange. But they do have the option to self-custody also. So you're in control of if you want to move your stuff to your self-custody wallet or just keep it on there and enjoy your collector score.
Yeah, I know another interesting thing with DraftKings, their NFT marketplace, DraftKings, they actually are a validator and node operator on Polygon network. So that's really bullish. I mean, and actually, Greg, recently, didn't DraftKings have a partnership with ESPN? It was like $1 billion deal or something. Is that right?
They were working on it. I'm not sure if that has gone forward, but I know there was definitely talks about that, which I think would be huge if it happens. And just sports gambling, kind of online becoming legal in more and more states is definitely huge. And DraftKings is one of the biggest players in the game. So how I look at it is, I was in St. Louis over the last week, and then across the river there was a big casino, and it was like the DraftKings and something casino. So we're gonna start seeing DraftKings everywhere. People are gonna start seeing it when they're watching sports. So question I ask myself is, do you think there's more sports gamblers in the world or NFT collectors in the world?
Sports gamblers. Yes. Definitely right now. I think the data I heard, and I could be wrong, there are only 10,000 active wallets right now in the NFT world.
Yeah.
So and I heard a stat last year. I don't know if it's accurate or not. Please correct me. Could be wrong, but I think it said at the time a year ago, only 30,000 people control something crazy, like 90% of all of the NFTs.
Wow, that's nuts.
So I don't know if that's true, but
yeah,
I mean, so it's definitely a small world, right?
Yeah, and what I like about DraftKings is I think it's gonna bring the sports gamblers into a space where hey, I'm making bets. I'm just hoping for the best here. Oh, and then here is this non-fungible token I can own, it's not going to seem like a crazy gamble like it might to someone else. So I think like, them
a Degen
platform, they're reaching out and grabbing these people, and then they're gonna just find these NFTs, and a lot of them I think will be like, oh, this is pretty awesome,
Yeah, what a crazy concept that degens in the gambling world might want to be degens in the NFT space. Wild concept, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, Joey, what do you think about DraftKings? I know you hold quite a few on there. What do you think about DraftKings?
I am a big fan of DraftKings. Like what Greg was talking about is, yes, that is the most logical play, is how do we get mass adoption? How do we onboard new users, pique their interest? And gambling and sports and gambling and NFTs is very similar in a lot of ways, with the research you have to do and the constantly changing plays that are, week to week are very different. So we're kind of doing that with NFTs anyways, but the fact that Tom Brady, the greatest of all time football player, unfortunately, I'm a Bears fan, but it's his platform, right? He's the face. And then they have Tiger Woods, who's the greatest golfer of all time, arguably, my favorite. So they're aligning themselves with the right players in the right sports to be the best platform, as DraftKings takes over every stadium and TV commercial coming to you soon, like you said, Greg. But yeah, I have all the Gronk ones in a collection. I have a whole bunch of different DraftKings Rainmakers. I have Tiger Woods. I've definitely picked up a bunch of little pieces at times. But curious, Greg, like what is your, what do you look for on DraftKings when you're buying?
So what I love, actually, I'm really into the statues. There's these limited edition statues on Autograph, and they have for only like 5 or 6 of the athletes, they have these. And that in the preseason access collection are the only kinds of NFTs where there's kind of like some continuity between each one. So, you have like the Tiger Woods ones, most of them are completely unique, and the Wayne Gretzky ones, most of them are completely unique. But then you have these statues where, they're cool looking statues too. So you can see, I got this many Tiger statues. I got this many Tom Brady, this many Gretzky's. So I'm kind of all about the statues.
I think you own most of them, Greg. What's your rank on DraftKings? Like 260 or something?
Yeah. Well, that's for Autograph. So yeah.
Okay, DraftKings Greg.
Yeah. So and then within the statues, I look for what I call doubles, and I like to bore Gringo with this all the time. But
I bought some, don't worry.
Where there's like a double mint for double digits, so that is possible on DraftKings. You find those, so be like, I picked up number 15, in the mint of Tiger Woods, and it cost $60. So they even have sometimes single doubles where like 1, 2, 3, 1 through 9, for like the double digits cost. So if I ever find a single double, I scoop it up, and I'm kind of picking up doubles a lot too. So yeah.
That's a great strategy.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joey.
I said that's a great strategy. Yes. You're like the floor sweeper guy. That's what we do. I feel like I did that on Quid this past week with a bunch of different Interstellar characters that were, single or double digit for double digit pricing, right? So yes, I've never heard that before, but I've been utilizing it.
Yeah, Greg. I think Greg made up that term. So the doubles. First time I ever heard about it was from him. So that's a new theory for you, for the NFT community.
Yeah, so I really like those, and the statues. There's about, I'm kind of a nerd about this, so I kind of counted them, like with a I pulled out this little calculator one day, blah, 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 blah. But, so there's roughly around 12,000 statues that exist. So I just kind of think about that compared to the Bored Apes and the the crypto punks, so 10,000, it's kind of a nice clean number. You hear seeing a lot of projects. So I think that the statues could be kind of the DraftKings autograph equivalent of that, kind of like the, top project within the project.
Oh, that's a very interesting theory. I like that. See, yes, I'm already glad you go. And you like showed off, you totally flexed that old school calculator. We definitely got to have you on more often.
I'm telling you, I told you, Joey, this guy, he's got the alpha. He's a unique thinker. Like, it's hard to find in this space. Most people are recycling someone else's alpha. There aren't many original thinkers in this space. And I'm telling you, Greg's definitely one of the original thinkers. He comes up with theories like this. He and I share these wild concepts, and that's what we do. We love this space. We both kind of got into crypto and NFTs around the same time, and we've just always kind of shared alpha and helped each other like that. So now the audience, everyone, you're welcome to the alpha. Greg has the alpha for you. Some great concepts, some great philosophy for NFTs for you. Yeah. Oh, and some other projects on DraftKings, some of their proprietary projects, like what was the first one, Greg? Was it Sly Crocs? And then you had the Draft Kingdom, you had the Trolls and the Minotaurs. Could you tell us more about those?
Yeah, those they have ones that you can kind of make your profile in DraftKings. You can use them as a profile pic. And what's cool about those is they'll have contests, like within Rainmakers contests, which is, for anybody that doesn't know, there's certain sports where you can buy NFTs through DraftKings, and then it's kind of like submitting a lineup. But what's cool about it, I think, is that instead of just like a regular bet, you spend $50. If you lose, you're just out $50. With the Rainmakers, you buy NFTs, so even if you lose, well, you still got the NFTs, which could still have some value. So it's kind of like a fantasy game, or something like that, where you're kind of playing a game, but you get to keep your cards. Kind of look at it where you're playing the cards, but you get to keep the cards. So with these profile NFTs that they have, profile picture ones, they have special contests. So they might say like Trolls versus Minotaurs, and people that have a troll can be on this team, and people that have a Sly Croc, or Trolls versus Sly Croc. So they have kind of special promotional things for the holders of those, where you can get in like a free contest, so those are cool too.
Yeah, I love the Rainmakers. I started off on it, and then I realized that I had to keep buying new NFTs to like set a lineup that I thought was valuable, but it is fantasy football. So that's kind of the structure. Is you start a quarterback, two or three wide receivers and running backs, right? And a defense. So very much fantasy football, now NFT fantasy football. And there's only one other company I've seen that's done something similar, and it's on wax. It's called NFT Draft.io. Yeah. So the Rainmakers and NFT Draft are the two. If you're big into fantasy football, which I am, those two I was playing a bunch last year.
Yeah, I found myself running like 5 lineups, which was not my intention when I started. I was like, man, I'm trying to make like $5 a week with each of these 5 lineups. So.
Yeah, it gets addicting. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Oh, and some of the other projects on there for Rainmakers, you have the UFC. So if you're not into fantasy football, they have other sports as well. I mean, UFC, they have John Jones NFTs on there, for example. So there's some alpha for y'all. You have Naomi Osaka for tennis, Rafael Nadal. There's a lot of different sports. They have NASCAR on there. Yep. So yeah, a lot of cool projects on DraftKings. And yeah,
they got PGA, they got a fantasy PGA. So they got like, a lot of the good, current golfers now, and they got Tiger on there, too, as a different one. The IP is kind of varies by the sport, I think. So with the NFL, I think DraftKings has an agreement with the NFLPA, the Players Association, and then I think their agreement is directly with the PGA and the UFC for those sports. I'm kind of a nerd and kind of am interested in IP and things like that. I think it'll add more value.
You're a lawyer, so
Yeah.
makes sense. Absolutely. Well, and kind of shifting gears as well, with DraftKings, there's just so people understand, just to clarify, it's Web 2, like a front end, so you can use your debit card, as we said. But just to remind everyone, you can self-custody these NFTs. You can move them to your MetaMask if you want. So anyone getting into DraftKings, just keep that in mind. Just because you buy them on there, you can either let DraftKings custody your NFTs for you, or you can move them on chain to Polygon. So that's very exciting to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's the best of both worlds.
Absolutely. It's a great way to onboard a lot of new users, I believe. So
speaking of onboarding new users, Dean, you and we're now Hedera Hashgraph NFT owner.
Yes, I actually sent that alpha to Greg as well. Zoop. Remember I said that to you? Yeah. So by the way, to the audience, where I share most of my alpha, it's Greg and Joey. We kind of all just share this tech stuff. So that's why it's really interesting to combine all of these minds together in one place right now. This is all new, unscripted, just kind of exciting. So welcome to the metaverse with us. New character unlocked, Greg Bueke.
Hey, what's going on?
New character unlocked. So yeah, so it's kind of exciting, but yeah, and then kind of another kind of changing topics a little bit. We can come back to DraftKings, but Greg, you're into Ordinals as well. We've mentioned Ordinals on this channel quite a few times.
Yeah, so those I think will hopefully be really big. They're cool. I just kind of you showed me that and told me about that, and it was like really exciting to find this kind of whole new use case for Bitcoin. So of course it's Bitcoin, and NFTs, things like we never thought we'd be able to combine, and then here we are. So it's pretty
so amazing, right? Because you were early to Bitcoin as well. How cool is it to see digital assets on Bitcoin now?
Yeah,
I mean, it's incredible. It's mind-blowing.
But what makes it kind of a weird concept is we talk about like NFTs, non-fungible time, non-fungible tokens, but it's kind of making Bitcoin non-fungible in a weird sense with the ordinals.
Yeah, how I view Ordinals, it's like the official or unofficial, more like it, NFT collection of Bitcoin network. Basically, yeah. It's like the NFT collection of the entire Bitcoin blockchain. So that's why you have from serial number one. It's just you started out with these ordinals, inscription number one, and it goes forward and it never stops. Then you have these sub collections inside of there, basically. It's kind of like some of the collections we buy on there, on generative.xyz, for example. But so, you buy those collections, it's just now you're starting to see it's kind of evolving. You have these sub collections. Now they're starting to list the numbers within those collections, because now we're over 1.5 million inscriptions, I believe. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think, right, Joey? It's like over 1.5 million inscriptions at this point. So it's kind of exciting. Oh, and another piece of information, some data that's very, very important that I saw this morning on Paul Barron, his YouTube channel. I shared it with both of you, actually. So in Q1, and this is according to a guest on Paul Barron, her name is Sue Ennis. She's the vice president at Hut 8 Mining. It's a mining company. She said in Q1 2023, inscriptions made up almost 8% of the transactions on Bitcoin, which paid out about 150 Bitcoin to miners on the network. So in a way, as much as the maxis hate ordinals, it's kind of saving the miners, which is kind of saving the network. If this early on, 8% of the transactions in Q1 2023 are ordinal inscriptions. So that's exciting. So, yeah.
Any new revenue coming in, any new use cases for the Bitcoin blockchain, I think everyone should be all about that, like let's leverage the very first cryptocurrency as much as we can and make it as valuable as we can and decentralize central banks.
Yeah, and absolutely. And Joey, you're going to be in Miami next month. We're going to meet up for the Bitcoin conference. This will be the first Bitcoin conference in history to actually have ordinals on the table. So this is exciting. Like, we're going to be at the very beginning of ordinals. We're going to be able to talk about this and interact with people at these events next month. So I look forward to seeing you there, Joey.
Yeah, I look forward to hanging out with you again. We were at Art Basel in December and then Quantum Miami in January. So yeah, this is going to be a great one. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but there's the very first Ordinals conference is going to be on May 18th in Miami.
Okay, so that's what I think you mentioned it to me. So it's an actual Ordinal conference separate from the Bitcoin conference. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and the men who basically figured out how to inscribe Satoshis are going to be speaking on the panel. Everyone who's like kind of helped the Ordinals take off, they're all going to be like part of the speaking group. There's an after party. There's a happy hour. So I would recommend checking that out because Ordinals are not going to be going anywhere anytime soon.
That's awesome. I just had like kind of an idea. Maybe other people have had it before me, but it's the first time it's crossing my mind, so I'll share it. So it reminds me, how Bitcoin, ideally, kind of think of it like money. It reminds me of like collectible coins, how you have like your regular coins, but then certain coins that the government, mints become extremely valuable collector's items, so they kind of take away some from the fungibility aspect, but it's really kind of cool to have like Bitcoin as money having its own kind of version of like collectible coins that like the mint might produce.
That is an amazing theory. I like it. And a great analogy too for people to conceptualize what is an ordinal. But yeah, me and Dean, I think we call them like digital relics, or
they're officially called digital artifacts. So that's instead of the term NFT, non-fungible token, they're called digital artifacts on Bitcoin, or inscriptions. You inscribe. So the way to think about it is, I don't know how else to explain it, but think of like a penny. You take a penny. So a Satoshi is like a penny on the blockchain or on Bitcoin's network, right? So you take that penny, you can physically paint art on there, let's say, and then you made that, like, it's like a blank canvas, the penny is. You paint on that penny some beautiful artwork. Well, then there's subjective value added to that non-fungible token. But because it's on Bitcoin, there aren't tokens like ERC 721 on Ethereum. They are just, the Satoshi itself replaces the token. So it's a different concept than Ethereum NFTs. But Ethereum NFTs have always had on-chain NFTs. I think we talked about this before. So on Ethereum, for example, CryptoPunks is completely on-chain. That means the metadata, the JPEG itself, most importantly, is on-chain, with the token itself. So the token's like a container, an empty container, and then you put in there the metadata and the JPEG, and it's stored on-chain. Well, that's basically what ordinals are. So if you think about it, the purest non-fungible assets are Bitcoin digital artifacts because they are on the safest, most secure, most decentralized network that's ever existed, which is Bitcoin. So really the grail of NFTs, if you will, are Bitcoin ordinals that are inscribed on chain. And that's separate from the layer twos like stacks that we've talked about before. So it's really exciting. Like, we're so early to ordinals. Like, it's all, we can be ordinal theorists, basically. That's how early we are. And Greg and I and Joe, we've all texted about this, that this is how early we are. We can become experts in this field pretty early on. And that's really exciting that the very first conference for ordinals is coming up. Joe, we got to go. And Greg, next year, you got to come down. Come to Miami.
Yeah, it'd be badass. We'll see.
Yeah, I definitely love to get to that Ordinals conference. I'm trying to be a media partner with them right now. So let's go. Come on, Diego.
Sneak me in. Sneak me in, Joey.
No, I'm going to try and get them as much quality coverage as I can. But my question for you, Greg, is, what do you look for when you're buying ordinals? Is it like a lower number or like an artwork that you like, or what is your strategy?
Pretty much, lower numbers, or even a collection that's been around for a while, so it's kind of hard to buy ordinals at this point, kind of like technically difficult. So with kind of the generative app, that's kind of what I use. So everything that I buy is kind of a newly generated ordinal. But that's not because that's what I choose. That's because of technical difficulties, to be honest with you.
But it is. Ordinals are difficult to buy, and generative makes it easy, honestly, because you can use MetaMask. So that's what I do as well. Yeah.
So I kind of closest I feel like I can get to that within my technical know-how is by looking for projects that have been around for a long time. So it's like the latest edition of one of like the OG ordinals that were printed, kind of deal. But yeah.
Awesome. Yes. Good stuff. So do you want to talk about Zoop real quick, or other things that you guys purchased in the past week?
Sure, man. Zoop, like, that's exciting. Zoop is, it's not related, but the creator of OnlyFans, he's launched Zoop on Hedera Hashgraph. So, and it's kind of cool. Like, I'm still new to it, still learning, but you can create a profile picture, more or less. And I think they use Ready Player Me. Is that right, Joey?
Yes, they're using Ready Player Me.
Okay, cool.
But it's so Zoop is more or less a platform for celebrities to be able to have more access to their fans in a more engaging and like private, but everything's on Hedera Hashgraph blockchain. So if you buy these different story cards, there's different incentives that are offered by each individual celebrity or creator or influencer. And you can either meet them, or they offer different merchandise, depending on what you want, how you want to interact with this celebrity is kind of how you choose your own path when you're collecting their NFTs. So I think it's a really great way for, celebrities to engage with their fans in a new way that is very Web3. So I'm definitely a supporter of that. I didn't really know what it was when you sent it to me, and I'm like, oh, if Dean sent me this, I'm just going to go ahead and sign up and buy something. And then I'll figure it out as I'm doing that.
I'm not always right, man, but I do like to find early projects. So let's see what happens.
Yes. Well, you're mostly right, I would say, so far.
Greg helps me a lot with that. Greg has a lot of good alpha. He and I just, yeah.
We go back and forth, and we're typically like, oh yeah, that's brilliant. And they're like, oh yeah, that's brilliant. Whatever he suggests, just like love it. But
yeah. Well, it's just because we see something, I think. We were early in crypto, and Greg, we were right. I mean, when everyone doubted us, a lot of the projects, we didn't just buy one project like a meme coin and get lucky. It's like we spread it out. We had a lot of 10Xs that we were right about. So, and it's not financial advice. None of us are financial advisors, but it's just Greg and I, like, we go back, and I will always take what Greg says to heart. I mean, it's definitely worth considering. So yeah, it's exciting. I'm so glad we could collaborate here and just kind of connect the minds here. Great minds think alike. And what a coincidence. We all believe in the big brand NFTs, so.
Yeah, for sure. A couple quick things I picked up, and then I want to hear if you picked up anything this past week or two, Greg, that you're excited about. But I bought a pack of plays of the week on Candy Digital. I thought that they did a good job evolving, because their NFTs now are very similar to like Top Shot, where it's like moments, and it's a very well done marketplace. So if you like MLB collectibles, which I do, I started collecting baseball cards first in my life, so it's a really cool way to collect. And then also I did pick up a pack of NFL all day cards that they had a special pack where you're guaranteed a rare or something, and I popped a rare. So, the sports collectible theme of the day, is what we're talking about. And it's kind of funny when I'm like, do you guys collect sports NFT? People use the word sports ball all the time now. It's like a loose blanket term for anything sports. They're like, oh, you're talking sports ball? Like it's just the normal term to you.
Where?
So I got a lot of sports ball NFTs this past week, and it's a great week. So Greg, what'd you pick up lately?
Well, just before I forget, you mentioned MLB. So one thing which I think is pretty cool, which I plan on getting into but haven't yet, is some of the early NFTs in existence on Ethereum are MLB. So if you kind of look for early NFT projects on the Ethereum chain, there's a lot of MLB ones. They kind of came out with like a series and then they stopped. So they're cheap, and you could get them like kind of the first ever MLB and one of the earliest NFTs on on the Ethereum chain and therefore in all of crypto. So I'm still planning on doing that, but this week I picked up Tiger statue and a Gretzky statue and a Derek Jeter statue. I'm addicted to the statues, I got to tell you.
Greg, don't you have the best Wayne Gretzky NFT on DraftKings?
I have the Ruby statue. So there's like 26 of that edition. The Ruby, it's signed. And one thing that's cool about autographed NFTs is if there's one that's signed or autographed, each one is individually signed. So I have the number one Wayne Gretzky Ruby statue, number one mint. So yeah, signed.
And the signatures they're cryptographically stored, right?
Yeah.
So they are the closest thing to in real life signatures you can get on a blockchain. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes. And as far as I know, I think the autograph collection was the first to do that. So if you find hand signed autographed NFT like you can get on DraftKings, that's some of the original. And actually the preseason access collection is going to be like the first ones for each athlete. So I think who launched the series was the Tom Brady. I think he put his line out first. So the preseason access collection came out in like August of 2021, I believe. So if you get one of those, Tom Brady signed, I think floor price is around $1,500 or $2,000, which is not cheap, but that is probably going to be like the first ever like digitally signed NFTs, as far as I know. Maybe there's some other ones, but that's the first one I know of.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, that's good alpha. So do you think people are going to be able to use the statues that they own on DraftKings as profile pictures, or can they?
I don't think they can now. What I think would be really cool with it, an autograph, there's like a trophy room that they have where people can get this room and then put their NFTs in it. I haven't figured out how to do that, but I understand that you can. So what I think would be really cool is to put my 57 statues in one of those rooms.
Yes, that would be baller for sure. What, Dave Dean, Gringo HODL, what did you pick up this week? You got a bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah, I got a few. This morning I was watching for a while on Ethernity, Bruce Lee NFTs, his official estate. The only place I know of that they're licensed is on Ethernity. So I picked up a Bruce Lee, and it was a steal. I've been watching him for a while. I think the lowest floor, like on Ethernity itself, is like maybe $383 or something. Normally, even on OpenSea, like the floor price is like 0.37 Ethereum, so over $600. And I found one this morning for like 130. So I aped in on that. I had to pay high gas fees because the Ethereum gas is pretty high today with all the meme coin stuff. So speaking of which, I'm a completely filthy, dirty degen, and I picked up some Pepe last week. It worked out so far. But yeah, I hate meme coins, to be honest, but it just seems like there's almost now a certain logic to it. It's like, okay, now we know in this space there are whales that are going to manipulate meme coins. And it's like, do you want to take that train ride and gamble? You know, we're talking about DraftKings, and it's the biggest gambling site. You know, meme coins aren't much different. So it's kind of a funny tie-in there. But anyway, yeah. So, what else did I pick up? I'm trying to remember. If you can, oh yeah, on Gamey, I picked up an epic G-bot robot. So what was that joke I told you, Joey? I hit the Gamey G-bot G-spot. Yeah, I have like 9 of those now, but I bought the an epic one, very, very cheap. But Gamey right now is like 3rd on Polygon. And I also picked up Boomland Hunter, which is Hunters on Chain, which is a big game on Polygon. It was number 1. I think the last episode we talked about it. I think at the time on DAP Radar, it was number 1. But, you know, it goes up and down. It's still in the top 10. I think it's 7 right now. So I picked up that. Trying to think what else. I probably picked up a few more NFTs. Oh, yeah. Elrond. You know, the metaverse or what is it? Multiverse X now. Yeah, that they rebranded from Elrond chain. I know, Greg, you were you invested in Elrond early. I remember back in the day.
Yeah, I think I sold it, but
No, I did. No, I sold mine too. But their NFTs are actually really cool, and they're super cheap right now. If you go on X Portal is like the official metaverse or multiverse X Elrond, and on that portal they have an NFT marketplace. You can actually get Elrond Mafia. That's a cool looking game. That's some alpha for people. So I picked up some NFTs on there as well. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, that's all I have for this week. What about you guys? Anything else, Joey?
No, I just want to say thank you, Greg. It was such a pleasure speaking with you. I feel like I sat through an educational course on collecting NFTs logically with you. So I really appreciate that. And I'm sure we'll see you again soon. You've given us so much alpha today. I appreciate you.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, LeDrop. And if I can make one suggestion for you, maybe some show notes, because whenever I listen to this, I feel like I have to take notes the whole time. Sometimes I'm in my car, but but you guys give
too much alpha.
It's great content, so much alpha. It's hard to keep up with it all, but yeah.
Yes, we'll do our best to get that info out to you guys.
Absolutely. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Greg, always great to see you, man. It's just great seeing you, brother. I miss you, man. I'll see you again either in Kansas or Miami one of these days. So
yeah,
good talking to you. And Joey, great seeing you, man. I'll see you next month. And everyone else, thank you for tuning in to Non-Fungible Time.